Okay, so this is the playfulness exercise that I was not really sure about including. Still not totally sure. I feel like there's some good reasons why I wouldn't include it. Because it's not grand and because it might not be as related or oriented to playfulness as many of the others. And because there's an element of discomfort that this focuses on that we've already visited. We've visited discomfort quite a bit. I mean, or at least we haven't talked about it maybe, and we've talked about it a little, but we haven't focused on the discomfort as much. But I mean, tons of what we've been doing is like discomfort, like say something embarrassing or tell an embarrassing story or all kinds of stuff, right? At this point. Yeah, there might be some, element that's like, well, we've kind of already hit that. But for some reason, I just like, there's something about it that I like. And I think it has to do with the fact that I deal with this a lot because it's a physical body thing. And to me, sometimes when you put something into your physical body or go through it with your physical body, it can really make a lot more sense. Or like make a connection and like really process through your system and become a real reality in your person in such a different way. And because I work with people doing dance all the time, and so I'm always working with bodies, and I see this come into play and into action all the time. So maybe that's why I like it or feel a fondness and a like little sneaking desire to like put it in here, even if I'm not so sure. And it's basically about putting yourself in some physical discomfort. We've done emotional discomfort in a lot of these because it's been all about, vulnerability or asking a friend or like being awkward, doing something in front of other people or doing something like, put food on your face or eat without your hands. You weren't intentionally putting food on your face, but I'm pretty sure you got some food on your face. So anyway, we've done those things. And so there's been that emotional discomfort. And maybe there's been some physical discomfort because I've asked you to do some things like jump and, use your body. But this one, I intentionally want you to put yourself in some physical discomfort. And I'm not talking crazy stuff like start cutting, joking, totally joking. That is not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about, it could be basic, like, the first thing and the primary thing that comes to my mind is go get into the most difficult types of stretch for you, okay? And I don't mean like the most difficult stretch, like go break your back, try to touch your toes to your head, just rip it. I'm saying like, if you have really tight hamstrings, go sit in a stretch like that. If you have really, tight shoulders, like go stretch, get a band behind you, sock, whatever, and like stretch out your shoulders, but get yourself physically uncomfortable, in some discomfort. Usually stretching is a nice, safe way to do that. You could also like go camping or, deprivation camping. No, not in a scary, unsafe way, but I was just saying camping. Some people love camping and that's like comfortable. That's great. That's like dreamy land time. But other people feel like, woo, it's a little uncomfortable not to have hot water, or I'm physically uncomfortable in this heat, or whatever it is. It could be go sit in a sauna or something. But something to create physical discomfort to a certain level. And see how that is. You can see why I didn't put this in, because it's like, is this playful? To put myself into discomfort? Here's why I think it's related. One, it's experiencing the other side. The other side, always, like being able to comfort and discomfort, being able to make friends with both, being able to be in a relationship with both, experience both, find some interest in both. It doesn't mean you have to love discomfort or be super into it, but you have to find some interest in it, because it's going to come your way, right? And so then life is something you can enjoy more fully and feel more alive in if you can find some interest in both, even in these little small ways. And you learn a ton. It's all back to that self-knowing thing that I think is very key. Knowing yourself, being comfortable with yourself. Oh man, that's like so key when it comes to playfulness to me. Such a like foundational block. Like if it's not there, that person's not playful, or at least in my experience, you know, they can be like a jokester, but it's usually like they're just sort of, you can tell that they're just sort of like trying to dodge life, or really enjoying life, or trying to put off a persona, or trying to guard themselves and like put it off by being a goof or something. But you know, really playful people, they're super funny, that, you know, like that deep, like, wow, that person is alive, man, I feel alive just being around them. That's those people that are, you know, knowing themselves, being comfortable with themselves. So in this physical discomfort, looking at, and this gets into that metaphor stuff that, you know, I like, weirdisuseful.com is my little, in case you're like, what do you mean, what metaphor? I like do a couple of podcasts. One's Life is a Metaphor, and it's all about metaphors, and there is actually one on this. I think it says something like resistance or something, because it's about resistance. When you come up against some resistance, like you do in stretching, you know, there's like a resistance point, there's some discomfort. That's kind of what discomfort is some resistance. So, you know, think about, what do I do? What's my first impulse? Do I get pissed? You know, does it start to make me angry? Do I get defeated? Does it start to make me fall apart and I just want to cry? Do I push extra hard and like kind of go too far and like power myself through it to the point where it's like, oh my God, this is probably too much, you know, and like bully myself? Or do I really pull back and maybe wimp out a little too much, where I'm just like, okay, quick, 1 second, I did it, okay, I'm done, you know, like, is it all about being done with this? Do I absolutely you know, repetitively obsessed to the point where I'm actually focusing on nothing besides get me done, get me done, get me done, get me done, I want to be done, you know? I mean, what do I do? Notice yourself. What are your tendencies? What works best for you? Breathing, you know, and does that actually inform you about how you handle discomfort in a non-physical way, like in life, when there's emotional discomfort or mental discomfort or life discomfort, you know, any kind, relationship discomfort, whatever. Do you kind of act the same way? I mean, is it informative? I don't know, maybe it's the opposite of how you act, because maybe you're kind of compensating and you like do one thing when it comes to physical discomfort and you do just the other. But there's going to be some relationship, whether it's similar or dissimilar. There's going to be some relationship between how you handle physical discomfort and how you handle life discomfort. And just check it out, see what you notice, and then use the opportunity with the physical discomfort to play with what else you could do, what might work better to balance you out, right? So if your mind is just like, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here, like, is there something you can do? Breathing? Could you back off a little and be okay, a little like taking baby steps so that you're not just like so deeply in the discomfort that you're looping? Could you distract yourself? Could you like put on some comedy or some music or whatever and come out of that a little? Could you get some help? Just having support from others help you? Have somebody come and talk to you? You know, like, oh, sit next to me, buddy, daughter, whatever, and partner, and talk to me, tell me something, tell me a story, tell me what happened to your day. Or expressing, maybe you talking and saying something about your day, I don't know, or even just, or going for it harder, you know, like, actually, I would feel better if I put more energy forward, because then I'd be done with this sooner and it wouldn't feel so awful to me. Because maybe what feels the most awful to you in a physical discomfort is this, like, feels like it's going to be forever and it like gets you panicky. So you would rather just like, all right, I'm going to push a little harder and like really get to the point where I touch my toes and achieve my goal, and then I can be done with this faster. So maybe I'll push a little harder because I'm not pushing myself enough. Like, whatever it is that you're noticing about the way you handle it, and play with other options. even if you're not sure which one's going to work best and you're not even sure what's wrong with yours. Like, I like my option. That's what I get for talking too long. I was saying, even if you like your option and you like the way that you do it, and you don't see any problem with the way that you handle physical discomfort, like, that is great too. Just try on the other stuff though. Just see how they feel. Totally experimentally. Pushing harder, backing off more, all the different in-betweens. See what you find, because I do think there's foundational work for the goal of playfulness, for the goal of aliveness that is in this one. And I see it all the time when I often see people getting in physical discomfort. That's like, yeah, what does that say about me? No, I'm not a weird sadist, even though my students might say so, actually. No, I just teach a highly physical and playful form of dance. So yeah, people are pushing their edges and in discomfort. So I see this a lot. How do people navigate those waters? All right.